I stood in the lawyer's office on a gray Vancouver afternoon, watching my son Derek pace like a caged animal. His Italian leather shoes, the ones I'd bought him for his 30th birthday, clicked against the hardwood floor with increasing impatience. "Can we just get this over with?" Derek snapped at Mr. Richardson, our family attorney for the past 20 years. "I have a meeting with investors in 2 hours." Mr. Richardson adjusted his glasses and gave me a sympathetic look before opening the folder. My wife Margaret had been gone for exactly 1 week. The funeral was 3 days ago, and already Derek was treating this like a business transaction. "As you both know," Mr. Richardson began, "Margaret was very specific about her final wishes." My throat tightened. Margaret and I had been married for 38 years. She'd built her medical supply company from nothing, turning a small pharmacy distribution business into a multi-million-dollar operation before selling it 5 years ago. The sale had netted us $4.3 million after taxes. Derek leaned forward, his wedding ring catching the light. His wife Cassandra had suddenly remembered a hair appointment and skipped this meeting. I should have seen that as a warning sign. "The estate," Mr. Richardson continued, "including the house in West Vancouver, the investment portfolio, and all liquid assets, totaling approximately $4.3 million, has been placed into the Fletcher Family Trust." Derek smiled. That shark smile he'd developed after his MBA from UBC. "Right. And as the only child and her direct heir, I'm the beneficiary." "You are a beneficiary," Mr. Richardson corrected. "Your father Thomas is the trustee with full discretionary control." The smile faltered. "What does that mean?" I hadn't known about this either. Margaret and I had discussed our wills years ago, but she'd apparently made changes without telling me. My hands were shaking. Mr. Richardson pulled out another document. "It means your father controls all distributions from the trust. You cannot access any funds without his approval. Furthermore, there are conditions you must meet before receiving any substantial distribution." Derek stood up so fast his chair scraped. "Conditions? What conditions?" "You must maintain stable employment for 3 consecutive years in a field unrelated to finance or investment. You must demonstrate financial responsibility by living on your salary alone. And you cannot request any distribution until you turn 35, that's 3 years from now." The color drained from Derek's face. "This is insane. Dad, you can just override this, right? Give me my inheritance?" I found my voice. "Your inheritance? Mom's money. It should come to me. You're already 63, Dad. You don't need millions. You have your teacher's pension." There it was. The calculation. The assumption that my life as a high school history teacher for 40 years meant I was somehow less deserving. "Your mother created these conditions for a reason," Mr. Richardson said quietly. Derek's face reddened. "Because Dad manipulated her. He was always jealous that Mom made real money while he babbled about dead wars to teenagers." The words hit me like a physical blow. Margaret had always been proud of my teaching. Or so I'd thought. "Derek," I started, but he cut me off. No, this is garbage." He jabbed his finger at Mr. Richardson. "I'm contesting this. My wife's father is a judge. We'll break this trust." "The trust is irrevocable," Mr. Richardson said calmly. "Your mother established it 2 years ago. It cannot be broken, modified, or dissolved." Derek turned to me, and I barely recognized my son in that moment. "Then you give me my money. You're the trustee. Write me a check. The conditions." "Screw the conditions. I have bills, Dad. Real bills. The mortgage on our place in Kitsilano is $8,500 a month. Cassandra's Range Rover payment is $1,200. We have country club dues, private school tuition for when we have kids." "You don't have kids yet," I said softly. "That's not the point." His voice cracked. "The point is Mom wanted me to have this money. She built that business for me, for her family. And you're standing there with your teacher's salary and your 20-year-old Camry, acting like you deserve to control millions? Your mother put me in control because she trusted my judgment." Derek laughed. It was cruel. Her judgment was failing at the end. The cancer medication. The pain she wasn't thinking straight. "She created the trust 2 years ago," Mr. Richardson interjected. "Long before her diagnosis." That stopped Derek cold. His jaw worked silently for a moment. Then he grabbed his briefcase. "Fine. Keep the money, old man. Cassandra's dad will get us through this. We don't need you anyway." He stormed out without looking back. without asking how I was doing, without acknowledging that I'd just lost my wife of 38 years. Mr. Richardson waited until the door slammed before speaking. "Thomas, there's more. Margaret left you a letter. She asked me to give it to you privately." He handed me an envelope. Margaret's handwriting on the front. "For my Thomas." My hands trembled as I opened it. "My dearest Tom," it began. "If you're reading this, I'm gone, and you've just witnessed Derek's reaction. I'm so sorry you had to see that alone. I know this seems harsh, but please understand I didn't do this to punish our son. I did it because we failed him, and this is my last chance to fix our mistake. We gave Derek everything, every toy, every opportunity, every bailout, when his ventures failed. Remember when he was 25 and his consulting business collapsed? We paid his $35,000 in credit card debt. When he was 28 and quit his job at the bank to find himself in Southeast Asia for 8 months, we funded it. We bought his condo, then helped with the down payment on the house. I built my business through 16-hour days and sacrifice. You built your career teaching young people to think critically, to value character over cash. But somewhere along the way, we taught Derek the opposite. We taught him that money comes easy, that family exists to fund his lifestyle, that love equals financial support. Tom, I'm putting you in charge because you're the only one who can save him. Let him struggle. Let him learn what we should have taught him as a child. I know it will hurt you. You have the kindest heart of anyone I've ever known. But please, for Derek's soul, stay strong. The trust provisions aren't punishment. They're guardrails. Derek needs to learn to work, to budget, to value relationships over bank accounts. Only then can he receive his inheritance without it destroying him. I love you. I've loved you since the day you stopped to help me with my flat tire outside UBC in 1987. You changed my life. Now change Derek's. All my love. Margaret." I sat in that office and cried for 20 minutes. Mr. Richardson tactfully left me alone. The next 3 days were quiet. Derek didn't call, didn't text. I stayed in my house in West Vancouver, sorting through Margaret's things. The house felt enormous and empty. On day 4, my phone rang. Derek. "Dad, I need you to sign something." His voice was clipped, professional. "Papers to transfer Mom's house to me. Since you're trustee, you can authorize it." "Derek, the house is part of the trust. I can't or won't. The terms are clear. You need to meet the conditions first." Silence. Then Cassandra and I talked. "We've decided you should move out." My heart stopped. "What?" "Mom left everything to me, even if you're holding it hostage. That house is my inheritance. You can stay at your brother's place in Surrey, or get an apartment. Your teacher's pension is what, $3,800 a month? Plenty for a 1-bedroom. Derek, I've lived in this house for 22 years, and now it's mine. I'm texting you an address for a storage facility. You have until Sunday to get your stuff out. Cassandra wants to start remodeling." He hung up. I stood in the kitchen. Margaret and I had renovated together in 2015, looking at the photo wall of our life. Derek at 5, missing his front teeth. Derek at 13, winning the science fair. Derek at 22, graduating from UBC. When had I lost him? Mr. Richardson called that evening. "Thomas, legally he cannot evict you. The house is in the trust. You're the trustee. You have full right to live there." "I know." "Then why do you sound defeated?" "Because he was my son. Because even now, part of me wanted to give in, to make peace, to fix this." "Thomas," Mr. Richardson said gently, "Margaret knew this would happen. That's why she wrote the letter. Derek needs to hit bottom before he can climb back up." Sunday came. I packed a suitcase with clothes, my laptop, and the photo albums. Everything else, Margaret's china, our furniture, the lifetime of memories I left. I called my younger brother Peter in Surrey. "Stay as long as you need," Peter said when I arrived at his modest 3-bedroom. Peter was a plumber, divorced, kids grown. His house was cluttered but welcoming. What's Derek thinking, kicking out his own father? He thinks he's owed something. I took the guest room. It was small, with a single bed and a view of the neighbor's fence. At 63, I was essentially homeless. Derek moved into the West Vancouver house the next day. I know because he posted photos on Instagram. Cassandra posing on our front steps. New chapter. The comments were full of congratulations. Nobody knew the truth. I went back to work. Teaching had always been my anchor. My grade 11 Canadian history class was studying the Great Depression, and suddenly the stories of resilience felt personal. On day 8, my phone buzzed during lunch. A text from Derek. "Where's the account info for Mom's investment portfolio? I need to move some money around." I called him instead of texting back. "The portfolio stays where it is," I said. "Dad, I'm not asking permission. I'm informing you. I need liquid capital." "For what?" "That's not your concern. Just transfer $500,000 to my business account." "No." The silence stretched. "Did you just say no to me?" "The trust conditions are clear, Derek. No large distributions until you meet the requirements." "I'll sue you." "The trust is ironclad. Margaret made sure of that. Then I'll take it out of the house. I'll get a home equity line of credit. The house is in the trust's name. You can't borrow against it without my signature as trustee." I could hear his breathing getting faster. "You're doing this on purpose. You're punishing me because I'm successful, and you're just a teacher. I'm doing this because your mother asked me to." Mom was wrong. She was sick. She wasn't thinking. She set this up 2 years before she got sick. She knew exactly what she was doing. Derek hung up on me. That night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. A woman's voice. "Mr. Fletcher? This is Amanda Chen from Pacific First Bank. I'm calling about the mortgage payment on the Kitsilano property held by Derek Fletcher." My stomach dropped. "I'm not on that mortgage." "No, but according to our records, you're listed as an emergency contact. The payment was declined this morning. We've tried reaching Mr. Fletcher, but how much is the payment?" $8,500, plus a $150 late fee, since this is the second missed payment. After I hung up, I sat in Peter's kitchen with a cup of tea. The trust generated about $12,000 monthly in investment income. As trustee, I was entitled to draw a reasonable living allowance, maybe $4,000 a month. The rest was supposed to accumulate for Derek's future. I could pay his mortgage. One call, one transfer, and Derek's immediate crisis would be solved. Margaret's letter was in my wallet. I unfolded it and read it again. Let him struggle. I didn't pay the mortgage. 3 days later, Derek showed up at the school. He found me in my classroom after final period, and he looked terrible. His shirt was wrinkled, his eyes were bloodshot, and he'd clearly been drinking. "The bank is starting foreclosure proceedings," he said without preamble. "Cassandra is freaking out. Her parents are furious they co-signed our mortgage. I'm sorry you're going through this. You could stop it. One signature, one transfer. The conditions exist for a reason." Derek slammed his hand on my desk. 3 students passing in the hallway stopped to look. "What reason? To destroy my life? Congrats, Dad, it's working. I had to resign from my investment firm. Conflict of interest when you can't invest your own capital. Cassandra's talking about her mother's place in Florida. Our marriage is falling apart. Maybe you should get a regular job." He stared at me like I'd suggested he grow wings and fly. "A regular job? I have an MBA. I'm not going to bag groceries." The condition says stable employment, unrelated to finance. Teaching, retail, trades, healthcare, there are options. Those are for people with no education, no ambition. I've taught for 40 years. "Exactly," Derek shouted. "And look where it got you. Living in a spare bedroom in Surrey, driving a car older than my marriage, wearing the same 3 sport coats you've had since the 90s. I'm not ending up like you." The words hung in the air between us. I saw the moment he realized what he'd said, the brief flash of regret before pride shut it down. "You should go," I said quietly. He left without another word. That weekend, I saw the Instagram post. Derek and Cassandra's house was listed for sale. Downsizing to focus on what matters. The asking price was $2.1 million. Even in Vancouver's crazy market, that wouldn't cover the mortgage and the penalties for breaking it early. Peter found me scrolling through the photos. "He's still your son," my brother said. "I know. Margaret wanted you to be strong. Not heartless. It feels the same right now." Week 3 brought more changes. Derek sold his Audi, posted it on Facebook Marketplace. $48,000 OBO. Need gone as soon as possible. He got $43,000 from some kid in Richmond. The Range Rover disappeared from Cassandra's Instagram. I later learned her parents took over the payments and the car. On day 19, I got a call from Vancouver General Hospital. "Mr. Fletcher? Your son Derek was brought in by ambulance. He collapsed at home. Severe dehydration, dangerously low blood sugar. His wife said he's been under significant stress. I drove across the city in evening traffic, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles were white. Peter came with me. Derek was in a bed in the emergency department, IV drip in his arm. He looked small, vulnerable, like he had when he was 7 and had pneumonia. Cassandra was there, but she left when I arrived. Didn't say a word to me. "Hey, champ," I said, using the nickname I hadn't spoken in years. Derek turned his head away. "Come to watch me die?" "The doctor said you're dehydrated. When did you last eat?" "Yesterday." "Maybe. I don't know." His voice was hoarse. "We sold the house. After all the penalties and the mortgage, we cleared $160,000. Cassandra took $80,000 and left. She's staying with her parents. Filed for separation." My heart broke. "Derek." I moved into a basement suite in East Van, $1,200 a month, which is about $7,000 less than I'm used to. Shared bathroom. The landlord's kid practices drums at midnight. He laughed, but it came out as a sob. I tried to short Bitcoin with my half of the house money. Thought I could turn $80,000 into enough to start over. Oh, Derek. I lost $60,000 in 3 days. The other 20 went to credit cards. I've got nothing, Dad. My wife left me. My reputation is destroyed, and I've been living on ramen and energy drinks because I'm too proud to ask for help. He finally looked at me, and his eyes were red. But I'm asking now, please. Just give me enough to get back on my feet. $50,000. I'll pay it back when I'm 35, when the trust opens up. The doctor had said Derek's collapse was from stress and poor nutrition. As trustee, I could authorize an emergency distribution for medical needs. This qualified. I thought about Margaret's letter. Let him struggle. But I also thought about my son in a hospital bed, broken and scared. "I'll pay your medical bills," I said, "and I'll pay 3 months' rent on your apartment." Derek's face lit up. "On one condition. Tomorrow, you start looking for a job, not in finance. Something real, something stable, and you stick with it for 6 months before you ask me for anything else." The light dimmed. "Dad, I can't just work some minimum wage. The hospital bill is $4,200. 3 months' rent is $3,600. That's $7,800 from the trust, which I can justify as a medical emergency and short-term housing assistance. Take it or leave it, but those are the terms." Derek was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. I paid his bills that night from the trust account, sent the rent directly to his landlord with a note explaining it covered 3 months only. The next morning, Derek called. "I'm looking at jobs. This is humiliating. It's humbling. There's a difference. You really think Mom wanted this? For me to work at, what, Starbucks? Your mother wanted you to understand that money isn't everything. That character matters more than capital." He hung up without responding. 4 days later, Derek got a job at a Home Depot in Burnaby. Garden Center, $18.50 an hour. He showed up for his first shift in his old business casual clothes, dress pants, and a button-down. The manager sent him home to change into jeans. He texted me a photo of himself in an orange apron. "Day 1. This is what you wanted, right?" I wrote back, "I'm proud of you." He didn't respond. The weeks crawled by. Derek worked his shifts, came home to his basement suite, and slowly started to rebuild. He posted less on social media. The few photos that did appear showed a different person, tired, humbled, real. On day 63, I got a call at 6 a.m. "Derek." "Dad, I need to talk." His voice was different, shaky. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I've been thinking. About Mom, about the trust, about everything you said." I waited. "Yesterday, this kid came into the garden center, maybe 17. He was buying soil and plants for his mom's birthday, spending his part-time job money to make her happy. And I realized I never did that. Never once bought you or Mom something just because. Everything was always about what you could give me." My throat tightened. I'm standing there in my orange apron, helping this kid load 50-pound bags into his beat-up Civic, and I'm thinking about the Range Rover, the house, the Instagram posts. All of it was fake, Dad. I was fake. "Derek, let me finish, please." He took a breath. "I called Cassandra yesterday. Asked if we could talk. She said maybe, eventually, but not now. She said I need to figure out who I am without money. And she's right. A long pause. I'm not calling to ask for money. I'm calling to say thank you. For not giving in. For doing what Mom asked, even when I was cruel to you. Even when I said those things about your career, your life. I didn't mean them, Dad. I was just angry that you had something I didn't, integrity. I couldn't speak. Tears were running down my face. I'm going to keep working, keep living in this basement, keep eating pasta and learning to budget. And in 2.5 years, when I turn 35, maybe I'll be someone who deserves Mom's trust. But right now, I'm just trying to be someone who deserves you. You've always deserved me, I managed to say. You're my son. I want to earn it anyway. We talked for an hour. Really talked, maybe for the first time in years. About Margaret, about regrets, about starting over. 6 months became a year. Derek was promoted to garden center supervisor, $22 an hour. He moved to a better apartment. Started dating a nurse named Sarah who didn't care about his last name or his previous life. I visited every Sunday for dinner. Derek would cook simple meals, nothing fancy. We'd watch hockey and talk about his week. On the anniversary of Margaret's death, Derek and I went to her grave together. He placed fresh flowers on the headstone. I read the letter, he said quietly. Mr. Richardson gave me a copy. After 6 months of employment, part of the trust terms. What did you think? I think Mom loved me enough to let me fail. And you loved me enough to enforce it. He looked at me. That's real love, isn't it? Not the easy kind, but the kind that saves you. 2 years and 10 months after Margaret's death, Derek sat across from me at a coffee shop in Gastown. I've been thinking about the money, he said. Here it was. The moment I'd been dreading. I want to refuse it. I blinked. What? Not all of it. I know there are conditions and distributions, but the big payout when I turn 35, I want to redirect most of it. Set up a scholarship fund at UBC for students from working-class families, kids whose parents are teachers, plumbers, nurses, the people I used to look down on. Derek, your mother wanted you to have security, and I do. I have a job I'm good at. Sarah and I are talking about getting married. We're looking at townhouses in Coquitlam, $650,000, which we can actually afford on our combined income. I don't need millions, Dad. I need to be the person Mom hoped I'd become. He pulled out a folder. I talked to Mr. Richardson. We can restructure part of the trust. Leave enough for a house down payment. Education if Sarah and I have kids. Emergencies. The rest goes to the scholarship. In Mom's name, I looked at the proposal. The Margaret Fletcher Memorial Scholarship for Children of Essential Workers. She'd be so proud of you, I whispered. I hope so. But more than that, I hope I'm becoming someone I'm proud of. On Derek's 35th birthday, we gathered in Mr. Richardson's office. Sarah was there, and Peter, and a few of Derek's friends from Home Depot. He'd been promoted to assistant store manager 6 months earlier. Mr. Richardson presented the official documents. After the scholarship fund was established, Derek would receive $400,000 for a home purchase, $200,000 in investment accounts, and the West Vancouver house, which he immediately put on the market. I don't need that big house, he said. Too many memories I'm not proud of. The house sold for $2.8 million. Derek donated $1 million to Vancouver General Hospital's emergency department, the place that had saved him when he hit bottom. At the small party afterward, Derek pulled me aside. I know what you gave up, he said. Living in Peter's spare room for 3 years when you could have stayed in that house. Watching me struggle when one signature could have fixed everything. Never giving in. Even when I hated you for it. You never hated me. I did. For a while. He smiled sadly. But Mom knew. She knew I had to hate you before I could love you properly. Before I could understand what you and she had a partnership based on respect, not money. Your mother was the smart one. No, Dad. You both were. You just showed it differently. He squeezed my shoulder. I'm getting the checks for the scholarship printed next week. First recipient gets $25,000 for full tuition. We'll give out 4 per year. That's generous. It's right. He looked across the room at Sarah, who was laughing at something Peter said. She wants kids eventually. When we have them, I'm going to teach them what you and Mom taught me the hard way. That money is a tool, not a measure of worth. That struggling builds character. That family isn't about what you inherit. It's about what you become. I hugged my son, and for the first time in 3 years, I felt complete. Now, when people ask me about those years, the years Derek calls his reckoning, I tell them the truth. Love isn't always comfortable. Sometimes it means watching someone you adore fall apart so they can rebuild themselves stronger. Margaret's trust didn't just preserve money, it preserved our son's soul. And though I wish she were here to see the man Derek became, I know she can see. Somewhere, she's smiling at both of us. Derek still works at Home Depot, though he could retire tomorrow. I like earning my life, he tells people. He and Sarah bought a modest townhouse in Coquitlam. They drive practical cars. They save for the future without obsessing over it. And every Sunday, he comes over for dinner, not at my place or his, but at the house we bought together. A small 3-bedroom in Burnaby that we split down the middle. Father and son, partners in the life Margaret taught us both to value. The money sits in investments, growing slowly, securing Derek's future, and funding scholarships for kids who need a chance. But the real wealth, that's measured in Sunday dinners, in honest conversations, in the relationship we rebuilt from ruins. That's what Margaret's trust really gave us. Not millions of dollars, but the priceless gift of becoming the people we were meant to be. If you're reading this and you're struggling with a loved one who's lost their way, remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do is nothing. Let them struggle. Let them fall. Be there to catch them when they're ready, but don't prevent the fall itself. Because it's often in our lowest moments that we discover who we really are. And that discovery is worth more than any inheritance.